All right, so this is another episode of Hull Yes, the podcast that I do infrequently when I want to, with good people from Hull to talk about how great Hull is instead of how instead of the negative stuff that we sometimes hear. And it's a pleasure to have Sarah with me today. I know you from Meek, but you are a person of many talents and much life experience. So Sarah, obviously that's me and that's how I know you. But for those people that don't know who you are, what is it that you do? Promote yourself, please. Plug yourself.
I say just getting back into the music scene, but I was thinking today on my drive home, it's nearly 4 years since we started Meek. We were going about 5 months before lockdown hit, and it was really sort of rapid. We had loads of momentum. We got sort of 7 gigs and we were headlining by the end of that 5 months, and then lockdown hit, which at the time was devastating because I'd had like a full 10 years out of music. So I had 2 babies in that time, and it pulls you away, and it's made me notice how few women there are in the scene, and it's made me wonder actually how if that's one of the reasons women like drop out or don't come back to it, because it's been quite a challenge to come back to it. So Meek is sort of my main project. I'm also doing some writing for more of an orchestral project with Sally Curry, and did a great lineup at the Cat's Mother Band, and did a couple of collaborations. I've done some guest vocals for Turismo, and just up for doing anything that's musical at the minute, getting as much in as I can.
Fantastic. So what was your life like? Obviously, you mentioned coming back to it, but you mentioned that sort of 10 years out. What about before that? Have you always been around Hull? Were you involved in the scene before that? Because that's before I knew you as well. So give me a little bit of insight into that if you can.
Well, actually, it isn't before you knew me. But you maybe didn't. So I think you were a year above me at school. So I had my first band was in school at South Hunsley. Okay. It's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I didn't go to school there, but I knew.
You always seem to know the people who are older than you in school.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I had my little band there, and then at college as well in Hull. I went to Wyke.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's when I really first loved the Hull music scene, college, and we played at Piper, and it was just brilliant. And I didn't want to go to uni because I just loved being in a band. Really wanted, and my mum and dad, to just go to uni, just have a good time, and then you get a job. And I'm looking at when I did fashion design, and that's when I got in a band that was sort of 4 or 5 years in Leeds. But lost a lot of confidence. It's a very male-heavy scene. I had an ex-boyfriend who would walk out of gigs saying I was just doing it for male attention. You get hassle off people. So it came to an end, sold all my pedals, and that's it, I'm not doing music again. And then by the time I wanted to again, I was either pregnant or breastfeeding or full-time job. Just life's too much, and just the confidence more than anything. So it was quite hard after 10 years to get back into it, and it's an intimidating environment, especially for women when there's not so many on the scene. Didn't really have role models when I was a teenager. Locally, there wasn't anything in the whole scene at that point that I knew of. I just had sort of No Doubt and a few others, like when we were playing a rock night, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think I'm more driven this time round, but I'm not supposed to swear on this, but I give less shits. I don't.
You can swear. It's fine.
I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
I sort of owe it to myself to not let people knock you, kind of thing. So I don't really care what people, and that's our music videos are daft. We're just doing it for fun. We haven't got any ambition with it. We're not trying to get anything out of it. It's not work, and we'll do it for as long as it's fun, and that's what we do.
It's a very fun band for sure, and it's really cool kind of alternative bubblegum pop, or whatever you want to call it, alternative pop. I think it's really, really cool. I've always been a fan of Meek, and your musical output too. I think you have a really great vocal range. But aside from that, one of the things you touched on there was again the difficulty of picking it up after 10 years.
Yeah.
So after having your kids and after selling all your pedals, what was the moment, if you can talked to me about it, that you decided to pick it up again, and why after 10 years did was it just that drive, that passion never left, or?
It was a divorce, to be honest. It was, the writing came back just all of a sudden in quite an intense way. It's quite prolific and just writing and writing. And most of those songs have just been kept aside and been a studio project, and then all the depressing stuff will come out with the Cat's Mother Band if I ever release it. But I could see that it was all quite, I don't know, more emotional stuff that I didn't necessarily want to put on people. And so like I was like, no, I want some positivity out of this. And so the writing, I was trying deliberately to get my uplifting songs, my uplifting music to get a response from an audience in that way, really. Yeah. And Jessie, she's just like, she's given me a lot of confidence, making me realize that, like, so we're proper creative partners, we bounce off each other and we work, and having that partnership is what Meek is. And if Jessie ever leaves, or that's Meek done. it's our drive and our creativity that like pulls the band together.
Yeah, Jessie's just a star for sure. I've got a lot of time for Jess. I think a lot of people in the community has, and that moves on to my next question. What has the response been? Again, 10 years plus ago, how has the scene changed, the music industry in Hull or beyond that really changed in terms of its attitude towards you and towards Meek? What was it like, going back into the scene, playing the venues, playing the gigs? How did you find the reception you got from the scene, now or this time versus what you saw before?
It is a big difference, a big shock in a lot of ways. So when I was at college, obviously it was just a couple of gigs local, but in my Leeds band, the Leeds scene just isn't as friendly as Hull. It's not as, people don't push each other on and encourage each other, and there's so many friendships within Hull bands where it felt in Leeds like it was competition, or you couldn't make friends with other bands because there was stamping on each other kind of thing. It wasn't about a scene. I didn't feel. And also coming back to it this time, role models that are female as well, which is a big difference. And yeah, I just love the scene. There's like your Polar Bear, Adelphi, really supportive of new bands, and they'll do what they can to get you back, to get you doing your best, really. So
yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's a wonderful scene for sure. And we will talk about some of your favorite spaces in Hull in a minute, but you mentioned there some of those role models. Who are the people in Hull that you kind of want to shout out? Again, those role models you mentioned. Anybody really that you think is doing great work in Hull from a creative standpoint, any standpoint really, people that you think deserve some flowers in Hull?
Some flowers. There's loads. So the people in Cat's Mother Band, they're like, I've gone to them and said, will you be part of this project? Because obviously I love what they do. They're inspiring themselves. Sally Curry is just like outstanding. So my sort of compositions and songs that are going that way, she's been doing the arrangement, and I'm rubbish at music theory. I just like, so I used to play the violin at school, but I just gave up when it came to the theory, because I think I got to grade 5 when I was like just turned 12, but couldn't take my grade 7 or 8 because I wouldn't do the theory, and I just gave up. So Sally is the whiz. She's like a scribe. She's amazing. Sarah Shields, particularly when she's in Fire, like Fire, The Unstoppable Force. That's my favorite whole band, hands down. They just go nuts.
They're great. They're fantastic.
Them as a group, I would just love to be at one of their band practices sometime. I would love to see them, how they bounce off each other and how they write and how they do what they do. But yeah, Sarah's vocals are incredible. Happy Endings, like they're completely opposite end of the scale to like Fire and the more heavy stuff. and the harmonies with Happy Endings, they're stunning always. They're so tight every show. Yeah.
Cool.
I'm on the spot now.
Nah, yeah, it's okay. If there's any more that come up, then feel free to shout them out. So, but Fire, Happy Endings, and obviously Sally, Dear Sister, are great examples of wonderful things going on in Hull. What about culturally then? Let's do some quick fire questions. We'll keep with the music theme at first, and then we'll move to food and just general atmosphere and vibe. So, your favorite venue, Sarah, and why in Hull?
Oof. It's Polar Bear or Adelphi. I don't know which. I can't pick because they've had such good gigs at both. As an audience as well, so there's been gigs at Adelphi where there's been a crowd surfing Christmas tree, and the floor is so sticky and wet with drinks flying everywhere that you're drenched, and you can get such an atmosphere there. And session on a Tuesday night, I'm gutted that Tuesday nights I just cannot get there, and I wish I could, but I have my kids on a Monday, Tuesday through the week, and then every other weekend. But it means I will never get there on a Tuesday night unless it's school holidays. So when I book in with Dan for us playing sesh, we can only play in the school holidays. But I'd love to get there more because they're so good at picking their bands to go on and getting great lineups. And supportive of the new acts. So I'm really pleased that after lockdown, all the fundraisers and stuff, that they've got the music venue grassroots kind of status that they need to keep going because they're doing a great job. Yeah,
fantastic venue, some wonderful experiences I've had there for sure. Good memories, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move it over to again, culturally now. Favorite place to eat. Sarah, what's your favourite place to eat in Hull and why?
I eat a lot of food. I've just moved to Hull actually a month ago. So when you've been asking, am I from Hull? I'm not actually from Hull, but I love Hull and I've moved here.
Well, hang on. This is going to spark some debate, isn't it? Right? Where are you from originally?
Broomfleet.
Right.
Heard of it?
Where is it?
It's sort of past South Cave before Newport. So if you go on the motorway towards Goole.
Yeah, what's the postcode?
Postcode?
What's the postcode for it? The first two letters, what the postcode?
HU.
Right, okay. So this is my thing, right? People that are from I'm gonna spark
not your postcode.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna spark some controversy here. Like I was born in Beverley, right? But whenever I've lived, but I've lived no. I've lived in different countries and I've lived in different parts of this country. And you say Hull. You're from Hull if it's an HU postcode, as far as I'm concerned.
I've always said it.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid on holiday. My mum, I did karaoke on holiday once. Just and they said, "Oh, where are you from?" And I was like, "Hull." And my mum was like, "You probably jokes. You don't live in Hull," because we were on a farm. In Broomfleet, I lived on a farm till I was 18. So she was right. We were but I was like, I've always said it. But particularly when I was at college, that's when I do love being here and the atmosphere and everything else that's going on. There's tons going on all the time.
There is.
But yeah, so I've only moved here a month ago, and just sort of setting up. Hopefully what we can see here will be the green room, the sort of music space. So I'm excited to just try and get a bit more decorating done and get making some music. Get back to writing because it's been ages.
Cool. All right. So you're telling me you've not been out to eat anywhere? Yeah.
I have been for Sunday lunch once at Larkin's. So I've been here since the start of April, and that's the only meal I've been out for.
That's fine. Well, we can promote Larkin's as a cool place.
It was great. It was carvery.
There you go. We can promote Larkin's as a cool place to get a Sunday lunch then, can't we? Yeah. So there we go. All right. Favorite place to get coffee? You've got one.
Brew's great. I've got a few friends that have done different art exhibitions and photography exhibitions. Just great coffee, really, really strong and nice coffee.
Yeah, I love Brew.
Can't think where else for coffee. It's lovely down Humber Street. It's always lovely. What's it? Phoebe and Harry's.
Yeah.
I always get nice brunch, nice there's all different nice breakfast things and coffee there. I do love Thief and Harry's for that.
Yeah, Thief and Harry's is great. I like that too. All right, so this is an odd one. Favorite place to unwind. Now, this could be, again, it could be a venue, could be a coffee shop, could be a restaurant, or it could just be a space. Where do you go if you go for a walk or whatever to unwind in Hull? Like a hidden gem of a place that you like to go and chill.
See, if you knew me, you would know that I don't chill. I don't unwind ever.
I get the sense of that, but I want to, you know, for the sake of the promotion of Hull, I wanted to ask you give you the opportunity to answer it.
To get out and have a chilled one, open mic at White Hart.
Okay.
So I've had a few good nights there, pool table, nice food, but they put too much coriander in it, so I'll have to remind them next time. So if you're against coriander, just bear that in mind if you order some food there. But the food is gorgeous. But the open mic there, I think. But yeah, most of the time it's just I'm a full-time teacher, music projects, kids. I don't chill. Yeah,
there's no time. There's no time. Okay, so yeah, my last few questions then. The first one is a challenge, so I'm going to give you. I've got some more for you just in case you struggle with this one, and then we'll come back to it. Do you have a random Hull fact that you'd like people to know? A weird Hull fact. We've had there used to be a zoo on, was it Prunny Ave or somewhere near Prunny Ave? I didn't know that. Cannibal Animal told me that somewhere near Princess Avenue. We've had some other ones, ghosts. We've had ghosts in, you know. So if you were advertising Hull to other people up from outside the area, what would you tell them was a good random fact about the city? Would you like?
See, the things you said with ghosts and stuff. See, I don't know if they're fact. I have heard that in the houses down the avenues there's brick babies. So ghosts of babies, so what they call like skeletons of babies built in the chimneys or something.
Wow, that's creepy.
From the days of illegal abortions and things. So that's really creepy. Just when I've moved in here.
Yeah, there's some dark stuff for the whole Yes podcast.
Jesse will be able to tell you another time because I can't remember what it is, but something about the Kraken. There's a Kraken trail. So like the octopusy creatures around Old Town, and there's like a trail you can follow.
I didn't know that.
It's something to look into, but I don't know enough about it to share.
Yeah, that's cool. I'd look into that for sure. That's ace.
But yeah, I might just be making it up.
It's
that's for facts. I'm like, oh, I've heard about that, but I don't know.
The Kraken Trail. I'll give it a try. Okay. So if you were talking again, if you were talking to someone from outside of Hull, what would you kind of do? What words would you use? What would you say to define the city in your eyes? What kind of key words we've had? Again, we've had like determination. We've had grit is one that comes up quite a bit. I love the word grit when it comes to Hull. What kind of words have you got to describe the city?
Friendly, welcoming, diverse, encouraging. Yeah, just down to earth and everybody looks after each other. I think that's.
Yeah, I like that. It's good. It's good and positive. Yeah. Okay. So before we finish off, then I'm going to kind of give the floor to you a little bit here. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people of Hull that have supported you, whether that's your family, whether that's friends, whether that's fans of the band, Meek, your projects, your many projects? What would you like to say to the people of Hull that have got behind you and will continue to do so?
I think thanks for humouring us as much as thanks for supporting us. Because like when me and Jesse get together, we're just nuts. Like there's days where we've just like storyboarded 9 music videos that we haven't even recorded the song for. We have ideas and then we're like, do this. You're going to be in this video for us. We're going to have this party and people just humour us. So they're just let us be creative, and they come to gigs and people Meek, and that's the mates that we've got. They chant for us.
Yeah.
And they followed us. There's groups that like they followed us to Manchester. We had a fantastic night. It was the first Saturday out of lockdown.
Yeah.
I fell off a speaker.
Wow.
It was just daft because we were all just so excited to be out, and we'd been in traffic 5 hours to get there because there was an unexploded bomb on the motorway. So this was like,
Wow.
it was, and we didn't even check into the hotel. It was just like an all-nighter. Police everywhere in Manchester because it was the first Saturday night out of the last lockdown.
Right.
But yeah, we had like a good few carloads come with us, and just a really good night. Yeah. So yeah, thank you to those people who humour us and come along and sing along.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got to squeeze one in now, a random one. What's the weirdest? Have you got any, like, again, you know, falling off a speaker, being in that motorway, you know, sort of situation is quite awkward. Have you got any weird and wonderful rock and roll, quote unquote, stories, whether that's in Hull or outside of it, that you'd like to share or not? Well, yeah, well, ones that you can share is what I'm asking.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm not that rock and roll. That's the thing. Like, I'm just like, I see myself as just like a mum and a teacher, and just like Jessie's the cool one. I'm just I think you're pretty get everybody organised and into the studio, and this is when we're doing this. Rock and roll, no, it's not really me.
That's cool. That's cool. I think you're pretty cool, Sarah. That's why that's why I wanted you to come on here. I think you've obviously done some cool things, and I want people to check Meek out. And again, you've always been lovely to people in the scene and very creative. So I think there's that's something that I wanted to share with people, not only in Hull but outside, is your creative drive, which I think has come across today. My last question is whether to check really whether I've done my job properly. We've talked about your bands, we've talked about your projects, but have I missed anything that you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to say? Any messages before we finish up today?
No. If you'd like to give us follows, I'm going to obviously plug. So Meek is Meek the band. Otherwise, you'll get this rapper called Meek Mill, who is much higher than us on Google. That's not us. So we're Meek the band. All sorts of socials. Enjoy our videos, but just take them with a pinch of salt. They are highly professional, all of them, and hopefully we'll be starting to perform with the Cat's Mother sort of autumn time, and hoping to start releasing, I think.
Exciting times for sure. Well, Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit with you today, and thank you for helping me promote Hull a little bit. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.